Today on the channel, it's a return to the Kyle Peterson Top 5, and in today's video, we've got the man, Becky Lynch, Top 5.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 5. Of course, a weekly tradition here every single Thursday on this very YouTube channel. We're counting down my top 5s and occasional top 10 favorites of something. In today's video, we've got the man, we've got Becky Lynch. And of course, Becky Lynch, no stranger to a lot of wrestling figure lines over the last few years, of course, in the WWE. And a lot of figures from her, actually. A lot more. When I got this list together, there was a lot more figures than I had anticipated, which is always fun. Makes these lists a little bit more challenging. And of course, we're going to do this top 5 list like we do all the other ones here every single Thursday on the channel and every other week on the other YouTube channel as well. Make sure you're subscribing over there. But we're starting at number 5, working our way to number 1. Number 1 being my favorite Becky Lynch figure. Going to ask you guys, put your list in the comments down below. Remember, this is my list. Put your list down low. And of course, make sure number 1 is your favorite. Make sure you put them in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part. But without further ado, let's kick it off at number 5. We kick off the list of my 5 favorite Becky Lynch figures, of course, at number 5. And number 5 may be on some lists, might not be on some lists, but a very underrated line and a very popular line, but a short-lived line in some instances. What are we talking about? We're going to Walmart. We're going to the Masters of the WWE Universe for the man, Becky Lynch. I guess you could kind of say a Tila crossover on this one here. And of course, me being a child of the 80s, loving on some He-Man, loving the Masters of the Universe, it made a lot of sense for me to get wrestling figures that were crossed over with the He-Man universe, playing all the hits for me at the end of the day. And of course, Becky Lynch, lucky enough to be a part of that line in this somewhat Tila representation in this figure here. Just a very, very fun line as a whole. We'll probably do some videos on those down the line. We did a lot of unboxings at the time, and now that some dust settled, we can do some top 5s, top 10 Masters WWE Universe stuff on the channel maybe in the future. But I always like this Becky Lynch. Of course, Walmart exclusive, once again, always popped on the shelf with that bright orange hair, there's no doubt about it. And depending where you were, this figure was really hard to get or fairly easy. This was a very troubled line, much like the Superstars line, where distribution was kind of all over the place, as we do know. But a fun crossover figure, one I had to have in my collection, and maybe you as well. So coming in at number 5, Masters WWE Universe Walmart exclusive, Becky Lynch. To the number 4 spot in our Becky Lynch top 5 countdown. And number 4 here, dare I say, maybe a conspiracy?
You ever wonder if they're watching your every move? Cell phones, internet, surveillance. Think about it.
No, this didn't happen. No, 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 no.
Settle down, Jesse Ventura. I don't know if it's a full-on conspiracy, but there has been definitely some controversy with the number 4 selection here. Of course, this was a Target Mattel Elite Collection exclusive 2023, then now forever 4-pack. Becky Lynch coming in at number 4, and we all know about this, how it was pulled from retail. Apparently they switched the box, changed the box around, 2 different versions of the 4-pack. A little bit of a head-scratcher 4-pack, as you got The Rock, you got Hulk Hogan, you got Stone Cold Steve Austin, but then you got Becky Lynch in there, and I'm not exactly sure how she fits. Obviously a current performer, obviously one of the top female superstars of all time, but if you're looking for the tippy top, I guess arguably, Charlotte Flair has the most World Women's Championship wins. She probably should have been a part of that 4-pack. I don't know, or what I really do think, and I said in the review, they should have done a female 4-pack and a male 4-pack. I think that would have been the way to go. But it is what it is. There's no going back. But we do know we got this Becky Lynch figure as part of that pack. And I like this Becky Lynch one because it is so detailed with all the accessories. This huge, I guess, skirt. We're going to call it a skirt. But a huge skirt. Got the little headband kind of thing going on. Definitely a wild look for Becky Lynch. Obviously, some of those Seth Rollins influences going back and forth between those two. But a very cool Becky Lynch. And as I'm filming this right now, the most recent Becky Lynch figure we've had in the collection. So this one coming in at number 4, the Then Now Forever Target exclusive 4-pack, Becky Lynch. We've hit the halfway point in our Becky Lynch countdown. We're at the number 3 spot. You got your list together. Make sure you put it in the comments down below. Of course, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to this very YouTube channel, as we got these videos every single week on both channels, so check it out. But here we are at number 3, and number 3 I can see being not on a lot of people's list. And this one, as we always say, these videos are about my favorite figures, nostalgia, moments in time. There's always a mix that comes into these lists, and this one definitely has a story with it. What is the number 3 Becky Lynch figure? Well, we go all the way back to Mattel Elite Series 49, to a figure Becky Lynch would probably like to forget. More steampunk Becky Lynch, I guess, with the big old top hat, soft goods jacket, or I should say soft pliable Polly Pocket jacket on here. Definitely not the greatest Becky Lynch figure, but a very nostalgic one for me, as of course this was at many of my Walgreens, probably some of your Walgreens stores as well. And funny enough, there was actually a Walgreens exclusive Becky Lynch, not a part of this list, spoiler alert. But this one was at my local Walgreens, a couple of my different Walgreens. And Walgreens starting to get some figures back as I'm filming this right now, but for a while, for a couple of years, they were a spot you'd go every couple of weeks on the hunt. And you guys know me, I'm always hot on the toy hunt. But much like Rio, Roadblock, Lando Calrissian, there was a time, pre-YouTube for me, where I would visit my friend Becky Lynch on a fairly regular basis. And there one time with the infancies of my toy hunts, this is probably 3 years ago on the channel, I happened to go to one of the Walgreens I frequent on a regular basis at that time, and she was down to 98 cents. 98 cents was this Becky Lynch. Now, I already had her, but I ended up buying extras. I think I bought like 5 extras. They also had some Maurices. They had a bunch of figures. Actually donated them all to Toys for Tots that holiday season. Very easy to do at $1 a pop or so. But this Becky Lynch, before Roadblock, before Lando, before Rio, this Becky Lynch was the one I visited on a regular basis. And it's always kind of sad when those peg warmers do disappear once and for all. We're dangerously close in my area. I think there's 2 Rios left in town. I can't believe it. We were almost a 4-year mark. Still hanging on tight. We'll see if we can make it. But this Becky Lynch had to go away, and I felt it was the least I could do was pick her up at around 99 cents or so. So this Becky Lynch, a little nostalgic for me, an okay figure, but a far cry from where she is today in the wrestling figures and wrestling landscape. But a fun one here, Mattel Elite 49, Becky Lynch, coming in at number 3. Getting dangerously close to the number 1 spot in our Becky Lynch countdown. And number 2, an interesting one. We go all the way back to Mattel Elite Survivor Series 2022 line for, of course, Becky Lynch. And the reason this is so high for me is it feels different. So many Becky Lynch figures kind of have a same feel to them. A little black outfit, kind of a singlet upper, just kind of the same look she always has with a little bit of color variance. You get the Then Now Forever's a little wild. Of course, the Masters of WWE Universe a little bit different, obviously. But then you get something like this, all in red, just a totally different look for Becky Lynch than what we've been accustomed to, which really makes this stand out in your sea of Becky Lynch figures in your collection, makes it stand out in a display case, things like that. Just a very cool, different looking Becky Lynch, and sometimes we need something a little bit different to get us excited about a character once again, because it gets to be monotonous, the same old, same old, same old. Think back to Jax with Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the Bone Cruncher lines back then. It was just kind of formulaic, same stuff over and over and over, and you can get that way with Becky Lynch if you're not too careful, and they did for a little bit, I do feel, with the man gimmick, things like that, between basics and elites and stuff. But this, really a breath of fresh air for Becky Lynch figures, and that's why it's coming in at number 2 in my top 5 list, and that means only one thing, we're down to the end. What is the number 1 Becky Lynch figure of all time, as voted by me? Stay tuned. Here we are, we're at the number 1 Becky Lynch figure of all time as voted by me. Remember, get your list together, put in the comments down low. Don't forget to like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and the other YouTube channel for videos every single day and countdowns every single week. So now we are at number 1. Have to imagine most of you guys and gals out there could guess what my number 1 figure is. A lot of you probably also have this as the number 1 Becky Lynch figure of all time. And I have to think, I haven't looked lately, but it's probably the one that's worth the most of all Becky Lynch figures. It is the Ultimate Edition Becky Lynch, the man in her full-on Kill Bill style kind of outfit a little bit here. Of course, Becky Two Belts, the rise of Becky Two Belts right here. an all-timer of a figure, and an interesting one is fairly rare, fairly hard to get, and one of those figures that I do think will be in an upcoming Ultimate Edition Greatest Hits. So many people missed out on this because people forget that way back a couple years ago, I truly felt this line was a little bit on life support. Distribution dried up. There was a few waves where really nobody got them to mass retail because of some peg warmers of the prior one. So it was an interesting time, and this Becky Lynch kind of fell into that aspect. A lot of people missing out on this Becky Lynch figure, but like I said, I really do think it will be re-released down the line. I just think it's bound to happen, but a very good version of Becky Lynch, no doubt. That's why it's number 1 here on my top 5 list. So there it is, Becky Lynch, Ultimate Edition, and she takes a face plant. What are we doing, Becky? Weak ankles on you? What's going on here? But this is the number 1 Becky Lynch for me. But what say you? What is your number 1 Becky Lynch figure of all time? Please let me know in the comments down below. And as I said, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to both YouTube channels, turn the old notification on. Don't forget about Patreon for early access to videos like this, bonus content, exclusive content, giveaways, Q&As, pizza reviews, dog stuff, you name it. It's all going on over there at the old Patreon channel. Patreon, your best place to support this very YouTube channel. You can also support the channel over at PressingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And don't forget social media. SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Instagram and on Threads. So for Becky Lynch, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.